Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Against All Odds. And as I say at the beginning of every podcast, it's purely a selfish reason I record this podcast because the guests inspire me. And today is no exception. I have got my lovely friend Dianne on the show, and we're going
Hello.
to talk about life and our journeys to how we got to
Yeah,
here.
the
How are you, mate?
same. I'm good, thank you. I'm very good. Was excited and nervous about this. A little bit of both. I kind of hope once I get into it, I'll forget it's recording and stuff.
That's it. We're just going to dive all door, aren't we?
Oh God, I hope not. Some of it might be a little bit embarrassing.
Oh, that's all right, mate. As long as you've got moments of cringe in your past, I believe we're all right because it means we've
Yeah.
moved from that
No,
place.
It did make us chuckle how you said you were when we were voice noting before, and you said I was like, "Are you tarting yourself up?" You're like, "No, I'm just putting a bit of foundation on." I was like, "What?" So I went upstairs, did my hair, I put some lippy on, and then I started putting perfume on, and I'm not sure why I put perfume on because you obviously can't smell it.
Do you know what I do? Yeah, I do before every episode. Yeah, it's
It's quite
weird.
nice. Get into the mood.
It's strange. Now we met in 2020, didn't we?
Oh, it was 2020. Yeah, because it was ended. Was it? Oh no, it was middle of 2020. My God, yeah. In fact, it might have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
June. Was it about June time 2020, I think?
Yes, I
Well, if
think it
not,
was.
yeah, I think it probably was middle of 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, while the rest of the world was going insane with COVID, we were busy sorting our shit out, weren't we?
Yeah, that was with War Morty. Kind of,
Yes.
yeah, developed that with Morty, and then yeah, because I did the 28 days with him, and then I signed up to Prime. But I
Yeah.
think you were already on Prime, weren't you?
Yeah. So I did 28-day in January of
Yeah,
2020 and then I joined Prime. So yeah, you joined the second round of Prime. And that's where life changed for us, really, wasn't it?
yeah. I remember the thing is, I remember looking if I look back to then, and I remember when I first joined, thinking, oh, everyone's doing so well, everyone's ahead of me. I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't got a clue. All of that, and then I see where I am now, and think, oh, that was tiny. That the difference now is even bigger.
Yeah.
You've got to start somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got to start that decision somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it
Because
wasn't.
we had a similar reason why we had
Yeah,
a similar reason, didn't we, why we started in the that kind of coaching world? Because you had got
yeah.
divorced. Was you divorced at that time?
No, I'd separated. So we'd separated in the January, no, February. We'd separated in the February. Obviously we hit with COVID. I wasn't. I'd been on the sick from work for a stint. But work even before that wasn't going particularly well. That was quite a tough. I mean, I'll not say where it was at, but it was part of where local authority, and I just kind of realised I couldn't work for the local authority again. I don't like that whole setup of it. It's too, yeah, just not my thing. I don't think I had enough autonomy and enough freedom
Right.
in the local authority. It's quite rigid. So that was quite difficult. Then obviously we had, I mean, what led before the obviously separation was obviously the incident with Kaelin with that sexual assault with my son, which was supposedly with, by a friend. It's always by a friend, it's always someone from Scotland, and that kind of was the starting point of what I look back then was the downward spiral of, where family unit, my marriage, my mental health and everything. But then, as much as I wouldn't have wanted that to happen to my son, I look back now and everything happens for a reason, Amy. Despite it being tough and challenging and scary and hard, there's always a reason for everything, because I'm right where I'm meant to be right now. And I wouldn't probably be where I am right now if all of that hadn't happened before.
Yeah, I completely I completely agree with you on that, because I think when I joined Paul Moore, I was I'd got a bit of a sob story because in such it's like 6 months, I'd separated from my husband, my stepdad had passed away, I'd moved house, and then COVID. And it was like my mental health was, I was all over the place, you know. It was, I'd kind of, the only way.
I remember the physical things, Amy. I remember shaking.
Yeah.
I remember at one point being at work, so I'd had a bit of a stint off on sick, and then I'd gone back. And I just remember looking at my hands and seeing them shaking and thinking, whose hands are they? And I'm like, oh, they're mine. Why am I shaking? And I remember noticing a lot of like wedding bands on people. Everybody seemed to be wearing them, and I just kept noticing it, and that kept filling us with sadness. Because I was like, I was married, but now I'm not married. And I was like, but I'm still married, but I'm not. It was horrible. And then I felt, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I went downhill really quick. It wasn't just like an overnight thing. It was pretty rapid. I was on antidepressants. I mean, I'd lost something like, about 1.5 stone, if not more, in about 2 weeks. It literally just fell off us. I didn't eat. I just didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I was shaking. I had anxiety. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And never, and I can hand on heart say, I will never be in that position again. Like, I know I won't. I just, hand on heart. I've done so much work since then, really. That was the starting point. But since then, that I manage what I call triggers, which not everybody likes that word, but it's the easiest word to describe stuff that make you feel a bit crap or a bit upset or whatever. I've done so much around that now I have my toolbox that I go to that helps me. But even then, my body responses to it are so very different. And the time that I'm feeling in that is minuscule in comparison. Like before, it would have been days, weeks. You know what I mean? Now it's not even minutes. It's done with quite rapidly now. And that's easy. And I get the journey for everybody's different, isn't it?
Yes.
Once the start on that journey. But if it's been 5 years. It's 5 years since I started that journey, and that's a long time. But you've got to want it, haven't you?
You've got to want it, and you've got to learn. And I always say to people, it's easy to go back there as well. You have to become kind of self-aware and look for those warning signs, because it is, because people say to me all the time, well, don't you get stressed now, or don't you get overwhelmed, or don't you have times when you can scream? Absolutely. But I know now how to spot the trigger points, like you say, the alarm clocks in your body. So I know that I have techniques to get out of that.
Yeah.
Because life never gets more simple, does it? It's not.
No. There's always, the things always happen, don't they? Everything happens. Things happen all the time. It's just how we react and how long that those feelings sit. So I'll if there's things that happen now, I'll sit with it. So I'll sit with it kind of in my heart. I'll sit with it in my body, so I kind of know where it's at. So I then know what I'm doing. And and there is no doubt in my mind that all of those sort of reactions and things that would happen, that would upset us or whatever, all comes from sort of some trauma. It all comes from trauma. There's nothing that it's just, I was born like that. It all comes from trauma. And not horrific stuff, but it comes from things that aren't great. But you know what it is, Amy? I always think as well, right, that I think in some instances, but not some instances, and I mean, you might think very different, but I feel like it's easier to stay where you are than it is to do the work. And I'm not saying doing the work, doesn't have its moments if you think, oh, this is great, and then other moments was quite horrific. But I think when I look back, it was easier to live as who I was then than it was to do the work.
Yes. Yeah.
And now it's easier now. It takes time.
Yeah. I think everybody's got like what's the word I'm looking for? Their resistance like to shit. So some people can't tolerate feeling crap at all and they'll move very quickly. Other people are more comfortable. But I think it's interesting because we both kind of had that dip when we'd separated from or husbands that we've been with a long time. And it's the only way I can describe it. It's almost like you lose your identity.
Oh, totally,
And you
totally.
have to find yourself again. And that is scary. I was scared because you
Mm.
find yourself as a single parent like you were. And then all of a sudden you go into like this masculine kind of thing. Right, I'm responsible for everything. I've got to do everything. And that's quite overwhelming in itself when
Yeah,
you're trying to find yourself as well.
yeah.
It's so difficult.
And it was quite, yeah, and even just thinking back, it was quite sad, really. But just making decisions, it was, you know, even little decisions,
Yeah.
that was hard. That was just a
Yes.
hard. And then I suppose on top of it, you know, you just kind of throw some mental health in there, um, and it everything was worse. It was just way worse than what it probably should have been. But again, you know, until you get to a point of wanting to deal with it, that's how you survive. And it became my story. It became my story
Yes.
quite quick.
Yeah.
My husband's left us. This has happened
Yeah.
to my son. We're in COVID. I don't have my really well paid job anymore. I've got no money. It just became my story.
Yeah. Me too.
It just circled around that. And I remember, you know, remember sort of talking to Morty about stuff, and he'd kind of, you know, you'd kind of start on that story, and he would just cut you dead.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
right, so what are you going to do? And you're like, oh, but I haven't really finished telling you what's happening. It doesn't matter about that bit. It's like, what are you going to do? Oh, well, I guess I could do this, this, and this. And that was was definitely my starting point. And I remember painting. It was definitely the June, because I remember painting my daughter's bedroom for our birthday, and I was just crying the whole time. It was quite sad, really. But I was literally just crying the whole time. And I remember just getting up and going, oh, this is ridiculous. I've got to do something about this. Is absolutely ridiculous. And then the kids came home on the Sunday, I think it was. And I remember lying in the bath and I was crying. And then Kaelin, like my boy, just appeared next to us. And I was like, yeah, hi. And he was just like, are you all right, Mum? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. I didn't even know he was there. I was just like, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. And he went, I'm hungry. And I went, okay. And then I got out of bed, bath, got myself dried, and then climbed into bed and just lay in bed and cried. And then he came in the bathroom, in the bedroom. He was just like, Mum, I'm still hungry, Mummy. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'm wait. I mean, he was about 12. And he wasn't
Yeah.
little, he was about 12 and quite independent. Both my kids are quite pretty good independent from such a young age. And it was at that moment, and I just thought, this, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live like this. Not
Yeah.
only I didn't want to live like that for me, I didn't want my kids to live in a household where they're worrying about their mum when they go to school, and they're worried about where their mum's going to be drinking. I mean, I hadn't drank. When we'd separated, I'd stopped drinking through fear of turning into an alcoholic, and that's not a lie. Because actually,
Yeah.
started, I thought I wouldn't stop. But I didn't want them to grow up in an environment where, you know, we've got to be careful because mum, it might tip mum, or we can't speak to mum about that because she might get upset. And I just thought, I can't. It's not what I want for me, and it's not what I want the kids' environment to be like. And
Yeah.
that's when I went, right. And Morty'd been turning up on my Facebook. It was either Facebook or Instagram. And I was
Yeah. Yeah.
like, right, no bother, I'll do your 28 days, you idiot. And then did
Yeah.
him. Yeah, I really like him. But I
Yeah.
had met him as well at SBG gym. So I'd met him in person there, and he's just a happy bloke.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 28 days, that got me hooked because it was like somebody had flicked a switch.
Yeah.
Like I'd gone from being like this, overwhelmed, didn't know who I was, didn't, if you'd asked me what I wanted at that point, couldn't have told you, just out of fear and not even know myself.
Yeah.
And that 28 days was definitely the start of me relearning who I actually was and what I like and what I wanted out of life. And it's when you invest in yourself, a lot of people don't invest in themselves, but I think it's the best investment you can ever make.
Do you ever find though people laugh at you when you say stuff like that, or you say stuff like you've worked with a life coach, or you've worked with a coach, or you've you know, you do this, this, and this because like you journal, all of that. Do you ever get? I mean, I know people like look at us and stuff. I'm not asked because this is my life, and I'm whatever all the choices I've made now or help me as a
Yeah.
person. But I do think people are just a bit like, Eh?
I get a lot of people like question me about journaling, like, oh, it seems pointless. Well, that's backed by neuroscience anyway. Like meditating, I do that daily. Breathing, I've incorporated the ice bath. I go to the gym. I get asked why I go to the gym because I don't need to lose weight, and it's purely down to my mental health because my mental health is my main priority.
Yeah.
And that sounds really odd because a lot of people go, oh, it's my kids, it's this, it's right. It's purely, call me selfish, but it's all for my mental health because I see it that if I'm not mentally capable or mentally well, then I can't be there for anybody else.
Yeah.
And it might look a bit woo to other people, like I like spending time out in nature and things like that. And yeah, I think people do look at me and scratch their heads and go, what the fuck?
See,
Yeah.
we have the same, we do the same things, just a diff. So you go to the gym, whereas I walk a lot with the dog. So my
Yes.
step count is huge. I mean, this quarter, for my goals this quarter was 1.3 million steps over 90 days. And to be honest, I thought, nah, tell you what, it's killing us. I'm like, oh, this is tough. However, I am kind of ahead now. So it's been tough, but then straight away, I'm thinking the next quarter might have to up that and add a bit more into it. Whereas you go to the gym, but being outside, we're both, that
Yeah,
nature.
yeah, yeah.
I love hugging a tree. Like, I can't think of anything better than sitting next and talking to a tree. Me, like, I think the dog thinks I've lost it. But the people do just
Yeah.
don't think they see the value in it
No,
until
and you, yeah.
until they want to, and they want to do those
I was
decisions.
about to say, I'll normally get the people that going, oh, I don't know why you're doing that, or you'll never catch me doing that, are the people that have never tried it.
Yeah.
And I'll always say as well, it's don't wait to do these things or invest in yourself till you are rock bottom.
Yeah.
No, like learn to be emotionally intelligent now, ready for the challenges that are gonna to face you. Because, like I say, life's never gonna get easier. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have challenges. I'm going to have challenges, but we can deal with it better now.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing you were saying about the kids thing, that saying where, people say, I'm happy if my kids are happy, is a load of shite. It's a load
Yeah,
of shite. Because actually, your kids are happy if you're happy. You can see a whole difference in your kids. And I've a massive difference in my kids. My kids are amazing people. They're just amazing. And I feel that sort of really strong bond with the kids. And I feel like, if you walk past my house, it'd be one of those cartoon houses that's about to burst. It would just burst with loads of hearts. It's like that. And that's me. So,
yeah,
in the decisions that my kids are making and the choices they're making and that direction they're going in, I know it's because of me. They're making them, but they've got an environment where decision making isn't made on sort of impulse of fear or being scared or not thinking about something. They're making decisions based on a calm environment, which and they're allowed to have worries and they're allowed to have stuff that they go, oh shit, what do I do? And we can talk about stuff, but ultimately it's down to them to make those decisions. And sometimes they'll make wrong decisions, but that's okay.
yeah. Because that's life. That's how we learn. But
Yeah.
there's that great saying, like you are one of the 5 people you most spend time with. So as a parent, if you aren't a well-rounded human, then your kids aren't going to be well-rounded little humans, are they?
No. And do you know what? When you hear about kids misbehaving or there's things that have happened and you have that age-old saying and people go, it'll be the parents will get the blame, and it's all that, it'll be the parents' fault, and people aren't happy about that sort of comment. But actual fact, where kids do behave in regards to their environment, they make the choices and decisions, and as parents we're responsible for that. We're responsible for how our kids grow up and how they behave until they leave home.
You know
And
what?
even then, we're
Absolutely.
still responsible when they bloody leave home. We should be, because we're role models. And if we can't be, if we're a role model where I'm going out every Friday and Saturday night and getting pissed and snorting coke and that's all I can think of on a Monday morning, then
Yeah,
I'm really like, but how do you expect your kids to behave?
absolutely. It's like, do you know what? It's like the little things as well. I went to the supermarket at the weekend And there was this woman, and when I say she was shouting, she was properly shouting at these two little kids. I mean, they were no older than 5, and she was shouting them all the way around the supermarket. And I felt like saying, what are you trying to achieve by shouting at your children like that?
Yeah.
Because all they're learning is that you shout when they're really not doing anything wrong. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's how what they'll learn. And I just think we owe it to our children. We decided to bring these children into the world. We owe it to them to have the right attitude and show them how to behave.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Caelan's I mean, he's what, 18 in August. I mean, he's working full time and that. But he does the grass, he cuts the grass, he trims the grass, he cuts the hedges, he's lifting the tiles in the utility. That's not me saying he has to do that. That's him stepping up into his role, and he's 17.
Yeah.
He's 17 years old. He's just put the sort of, oh, I don't know what you call it. I've had the porch done, so and it's got windowsill, like the actual sills to go on, and he's put the sort of ply on there to level it all off, ready for the sills. He's done that. I didn't make him do that. He's bought the wood, he's measured it all, he's cut it, and he's fitted it. That's not me saying I've got jobs and you need to do them. That's him stepping into his role, and he's doing that because of the environment he's in. He's stepping into that masculine role, to be fair, and he's stepping into it very bloody well for a 17-year-old lad.
Yeah.
And
really is, yeah.
And you know, my daughter makes very good choices in terms of boyfriend and stuff like that, you know, and again, she won't tolerate anything she shouldn't. And you know, she's a assistant manager at quite a young age and all of this sort of stuff. And I know that's because of me. It's the environment. They've achieved these things, but they've done it because they're in an environment where mum is achieving and doing well and looking after our own health and doing all. I mean, they'll hear me meditating on the morning. You know, he might stick his head in the bedroom and I'll be meditating, and he'll just nip back out again because I'm doing my things. They'll see his journal, all of this sort of stuff. I've got sticky notes all over my kitchen and my fridge. They're in my bedroom, on my door.
Me too.
Yeah, and they're written on the outside of the shower backwards, so you can read them. And it's all stuff like, you know, I am brave, I am grateful, I am worthy, and that's all over the house. They're in that environment. They're seeing that all the time.
Yeah.
Seeing this all the time, and they invite, you know, they can't go in the shower and wash their hair without reading something that says, I am grateful, I am worthy, I am confident, I am amazing, I am abundant. They see it, they're around it all of the time.
Yeah. That's incredible. I love that, and I'm glad that you agree with me that mental health must come first with everybody.
I think it has to. I really think it has to. And again, though, I get that it's hard. Do you know what I mean? My line of work is with, you know, lots of individuals of different ages, you know, who are neurodiverse, you know, and a lot of mental health comes with that. And even individuals who are neurodiverse with their mental health problems. So I understand that it's there, and I understand that it's hard. Things are hard, but only you can make a difference. You can give tools out to people, and I can offer support, and I can offer time, but I often follow that up with, so what are you going to do?
Okay, that's it. I always say to
what
people,
do you need from me, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, you can read all the like mental health books in the world and the self-help books, but if you don't do something about it, it's absolutely pointless. You know, you've got to back it up with action.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things I did on what's it called, Timer? What's that app called again? That's my brain.
Oh, Insight Timer.
Thank you. Yeah, where I did. So I must have done it not last year, God, the year before, when I first went on, because I was working with a life coach back in. So I started with a life coach in summer. No, it must have been summer of 23. And then I finished with her in January 24.
Right.
And with her, that was a lot about, it was very different to the same sort of ideas about stuff that Morty has, you know, about you know, everything happens for a reason, and you know, lots of similar things like that. But that was very much about inner work and about
Right.
why I felt the way I felt and why I behaved and made decisions about things that I'd made, particularly around men. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie, pretty bad decisions around men. And in actual fact, all I've done is upskill myself. I've just upskilled myself to provide myself with everything that I need, so that I am not seeking love externally from a man all the time, or somebody from a male figure. Because it becomes a desperation that you think you need a man to be happy, or you think you need a man to help with decisions or anything like that. And I adore men. I absolutely adore men. And I'm very open to a relationship. It's not, you know, I'm not done with men, but I'm coming from a very different place
Yeah.
to what I used to. And that was a lot of work on me, and really going quite deep, because a lot of the decisions I made came from trauma. It came from trauma. And
Yeah.
I'm bloody 50, you know what I mean? I'm nearly, well, I'm 51 in August.
Mm.
So I've spent a lot of my life living like that. So it's not easy to make those
Well,
changes.
that's it. I mean, because you'll always make a decision on your past,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you always. So it's
yeah.
that quite dangerous in any situation, because you'll
So I
always make
did,
a decision.
yeah. So I did that insight timer. So I did David G. Breathe with me.
Right. Okay.
Did that quite early on in the working with the life coach in that summertime. And honestly, it just changed everything. Oh, it's so weird to say that, how amazing it is breathing, because
Yeah, we breathe all the time,
we
but
all
I'm with
breathe
you
all
on.
the time. But to actually breathe and be present when you're breathing is just different. It's so different. And I know I sound massively woo-woo, but it's true. Because if you can really get present, you can control that up here, that neighbor. And I got that from Untethered Soul, that you know, that neighbor in your head that keeps having this little voice that tells you to do this, this, and this, or makes you think about that, or makes you think about this. And you often listen to it, even when it's wrong. And even when it's been proved wrong on hundreds of occasions, we still listen to that neighbor. We still listen.
Yeah.
Whereas if you meditate and you breathing and you're present, that stops, or you can then do something about that. It's just
Yeah.
it's I know it sounds really woo-woo when I say it, because
But it's
I know
like
it does, but
if
it's
you
true.
yeah, if you think about it, our brains are constantly going all the time, and
Mhm.
they're either digging up the past or worrying about the future.
Yeah,
Right, so it's actually really hard for people to stay present. And when
yeah,
you're breathing, you're having to focus on it, which is why I love the ice bath, because I have
yeah,
to focus on my breathing when I'm in there.
yeah, definitely.
So it's only 3 minutes I'm in there, but it means I'm completely present.
Yeah, present. And it's about being that, because if you're present, you are not thinking about the crap that's happened. You're not wondering, oh, what's going to happen tomorrow, and this might happen and that. You are literally in the present moment. And if you can live your life more like that, then you don't have the depression from the past, and you don't have the anxiety from the future hitting you. You just
Yes.
don't, because
Yeah.
you are present in the here and now. And I
Yeah.
remember last year, I took the kid. I booked a holiday last May, so a year now. I need another holiday. And I took the kids to. We went to Mallorca for a week, and I'd booked it early in the year. So we'd gone in the May, and I booked it early in the year, and I was looking forward to it. But I made damn sure I was present every day, present and grateful every day, and enjoyed my time every single day, rather
Mm.
than just thinking it's this one thing that's going to make us happy. No, no, every day is going to make us happy. And again, you know, I might come across as some sort of positive Polly, and I'm sure sometimes people must think, when I'm talking, they must think, here she comes again. But at the end of the day, I don't want to live in a negative environment. I don't want to be
I get
surrounded
that.
by
I'm
negativity.
yeah. I've actually been blamed before for being too positive.
How can you be too positive? What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I think, do you know what it is? I know you're big on gratitude, like I am, and I don't think. I mean, gratitude is very important to me,
Yeah,
and practicing gratitude automatically over time makes you more optimistic.
yeah,
So it's not that I find like I'm just like this positive person all the time. I
Yeah.
do have days, well, you know, 'cause we talk quite a lot, where I'm just like, Dianne, I'm feeling shit and anything like that. But I'm able to pull it round quicker because I practice gratitude. So it makes
Yeah.
my brain easier to flip it.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's one of those things where, not that, because people will say to me, oh, does that mean you're grateful for all the crap that's gone in the past? No, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'd like it to happen again
No.
at all, but I've made peace with it.
Exactly. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't change it, can you? You
No.
can't change it. You can't fix it. You can't go back in time. But what you can do is go, it's done. It's happened. I'm going to deal with it. And then I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
And it's not like where, and you know what it is a lot of people behave not particularly great, but you've just kind of go, okay, that's they're making their best decisions for whatever situation they're in at the time.
Yeah.
That comes from Paul Moore. That's
Yeah.
one of the things I mean, just on Monday when I was driving to work, was it actually wasn't Monday gone because it's just Tuesday today, so it must have been last week. And some bloke tried to ram us off the road. He was so angry. He was a very angry man. And I would have carried that with us for hours. I'd have been upset. I'd have been shaken. I'd have been like, oh my God, oh, this is terrible. I was just like, oh, sorry, mate, you know. And to be fair, I hadn't done anything wrong. But it was like, I could have carried that. But it was
Yeah.
like, what's the point? It's happened. I can't control his actions and behaviors. I can, however, control how I react and feel about it. So I
Yeah.
can either go, oh, this has happened, or I can go, okay, this has happened. It's not, you know, my heart was racing a little bit, but that's because I was frightened of getting hit by a wagon, well, a truck. And then I can go, right, okay, it's done. It's done. What's in store today? What fun things are going to happen today? What am I looking forward to? And it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like I'm a positive Polly, but I'd rather be a positive Polly than a negative Nelly all the time and
Yes.
live with you know, fears of stuff and worry about stuff and living and repeating my story. Because if you repeat your story again and again and again, you're not going to feel happy. You're
No,
not going
you'll
to.
never grow. You'll just
Nah.
cling on to the past. Yeah.
So
Could
I'd
you,
rather be like this.
can you look back now? Because I do from time to time. And then look back how you were 5 years ago and go, oh my God, I've completely
Oh,
changed.
yeah, I do.
I do.
I look back, like it's kind of in stages where I look back, you know, before I started with Paul Moore, then my time with Morty, which was incredible. You know, that was the stepping stone that I needed. And then after that, I had a stint of, and thought then, I'm dead confident, I'm happy, life is great, this is wonderful. But then I look back and go, no, I wasn't present. That was me faking it. And I am a little bit of a believer, you know, fake it till you make it, because you've got to trick your brain. You've got to keep telling yourself the same thing. It's got to be consistent. So you've got to work with that. But there's also that element of thinking that that's how I was, but I actually wasn't. But
Yeah.
that wasn't how I was feeling at all. And then obviously I moved into dating and everything, and then it was from the dating that I realized, oh, there's something wrong with me. This isn't normal. This isn't how I want to live. And that's when I made another conscious decision that something wasn't right. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't right. And that's when I worked with that life coach. And then, but even then, you know, I finished with her in January last year, and I've still been growing, and there's still stuff. Well, you know, when I've messaged you and we voice note, and I've
Yeah.
went, shit, this has happened, or and you know, through the last sort of 18 months since I finished with her, I've still been working on myself. It's never ending, but I do feel I'm there.
Yes.
Do feel I'm there. Don't get us wrong. There'll still be lessons to be learned and all this sort of stuff. But I feel like I'm there. I feel really, really good, and I feel happy, and I feel present and authentic. That there's nothing. I don't have to pretend about stuff. I don't have to pretend that, yeah, I'll come out on Saturday night. Yay! No, I'm not coming. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no people pleasing there anymore. I don't have to.
I was a big people pleaser as well. And if you'd have asked me before, I'd be like, no, I'm not a people pleaser. And it turned out I was a massive people pleaser.
I would have took huge offence. If
Yeah,
someone said that, I would be like, how fucking dare you? I'm not a people. I don't please people. I look after myself. No, I was an
no, I was a
absolute
people
pleaser.
pleaser. You know, I got overwhelmed, suffered from anxiety. I was a people pleaser. I I did look after everybody more than I looked after me.
Mm-hmm. Always. Oh,
Yeah,
honestly, I think about some of the stuff and just think you've run yourself ragged.
yeah,
Absolutely
yes,
ragged.
yeah, yeah,
Just so that everybody was happy around you and everybody had what they wanted and everything was great when you were inside screaming, just like
yeah,
it's sad.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I wouldn't change it, Amy. It's
No, I wouldn't.
it's the journey that I've been on, and it was immense to be sort of entering my 50s
Yeah, yeah,
how I was always meant to be. And I do feel like, I mean, I've said this before, a couple of, lasses that I did some coaching with, and we still meet up, and they're kind of my tribe because we are on this journey and we're all kind of where we're at. And, we wouldn't change you. We wouldn't, because it's where you're meant to be. It's, that path you've been on.
yeah,
Right. It's quite incredible.
yeah.
And I've added, yeah, LMNNOP.
Yes.
I added G on the end for
What's G?
gratitude.
Nice.
Gratitude at least a minimum of once a day. So out
Yeah,
of all that, I do that minimum once a day, but generally more. So
yeah,
I'll just sit in it and I'll feel it, and then it's nice. It's good.
yeah. I love that. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day, and somebody says, "Oh, do you ever look back at yourself and cringe?" I thought sometimes it's a bit cringy, and then I flip it because I just think, fucking hell, Amy, look how far you've come.
Yeah,
I actually said to somebody the other day, I am now the woman that my younger version needed.
yeah, definitely. And do you feel that, yeah, I know you're Amy, but do you feel that you're different? Because I do.
Yes.
I know that I'm not Amy, just to clarify that. I haven't gone down a massive rabbit hole. But
Yeah.
I know, like, I know I'm Dianne, I know I'm me,
Yeah.
but I am different, Amy. That I
Yeah.
can't, I am a different person. I'm different to who I used to be. I
Yeah.
know I am.
But I always say to people, it's like, I take out alcoholics, for instance, they can drink themselves nearly to death, then stop and change their lives, and then one more drink can have them back in that hole.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that we are capable of being those women that we were 5 years ago, like the anxious, overwhelmed, like
Yeah.
mental health suffering. So that's why a lot of people say to me, well, when you get into like investing in yourself and like changing your life, it's like a constant job. So it automatically sounds like hard work. And it
Oh,
is,
yeah.
but it becomes easier. It becomes second nature, doesn't it?
And yeah, because like the journaling, obviously I've done the journaling in the past, and I had a break from the journaling, just like yourself. But then this year, when I started journaling, I was just like, it's just not, something's not right. It's not clicking. It's not, but I persevered for 90 bloody days of it. But I tell you what, it got easier. And I'm dyslexic.
Yeah.
I hate writing. Writing to me is just like, it's horrible. But I journal. I love to journal. Like, I love to just get my thoughts out, and having that plan. And I'm not gonna lie, the part of the journal when it says, what are you maybe not, it doesn't say worried, but what might affect you today. I mean, I might be a bit tired, or it might be somebody's attitude, but then I'm like, I know how I would deal with that, and I write that down. It's very rarely there's anything negative. I'm generally on a 10. It's
Yeah.
very rare I'm not a 10. It's if I'm not a 10, it's probably because I'm tired, or I've been out the night before. And even the weekend, Amy, I went to the beer festival on Saturday. I just didn't feel it.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's peculiar, because the other Diane would have been partying hard on that. And I was looking around, and I can see that there's
Yes.
hundreds of people around us who haven't done any work on themselves. And I'm like, oh, was that person? That was me. When I can see the lasses and they're all,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that was me. That would have been me. And it's not the right environment for us. I
No.
am going to another beer festival, without sounding like I'm backtracking here. but I have tickets for another one, but me and my friend have talked about it. And if we, we go and we're like, oh, that we're done sort of thing, then I can just come away if I want. I can just come home
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
But I want to go because I want to see how I feel. So there's a lot of, I suppose, to grow, you've got to almost test yourself and put that stuff in place so that you can see what lessons you get, whether Saturday night was a one-off or whether it is just, that's not my environment anymore. I have a feeling it's just not my environment anymore, but there's no harm, you know what I mean? There's no harm done.
You know what? That's it. When you start to kind of work on yourself, you realize that some things you have to let go, because if nothing changes,
Yeah.
nothing changes, right? And self-awareness is great. And I'll always say to people, there's always a negative to a positive. Being self-aware is great. You get to learn yourself inside out. You know your triggers. You can watch out for the alarm clocks. You're more mentally, like, emotionally resilient. But the downside is, it's like you're stripped bare. You have
Totally.
you have no excuses to hide behind. You get to learn the bad sides of you as well as the good sides, because we've all got positive and negative. And sometimes it can be a little bit upsetting, because it's like you've been doing things that you thought were all right for you, but actually they're not. And sometimes that involves letting people go as well.
I was just going to say to you, in terms of that, because it is a lot about your environment, isn't it? Which, again, is taking us back to me, my sort of thoughts and my opinions on our kids and the environment and all of that. And it goes back to, Paul Moore used to say that, who do you want to surround yourself with? Because it does make a difference. That circle makes a difference. Your circle of support makes a difference. So can you remember how you felt when you kind of realized that actually some of those people in that circle weren't serving you, that wasn't the value there? And then that was, I'm going to imagine, was probably quite hard, because I remember thinking, oh shit.
Yeah, it is, because you feel it's like a big light switch is turned on, and it makes you feel awful.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes you feel absolutely awful. And then you start to realize as well that you've probably been living by everybody else's rules, that actually what they enjoy is what they enjoy and you don't, but you've gone along with it. It's like peer pressure, even though we're adults. And it is quite upsetting. And
it's hard, I think, when you very first hit that moment where you think, oh shit, and I remember Morty used to talk about it, and I just used to think, yeah, whatever. Bless him. I hope he doesn't listen to this. And then love you, Paul. And then I think even when I, again, when I worked with the life coach a couple of years back, it was the same thing. You just, it's because when I say serving you, it sounds horrible, doesn't it? It sounds, your friend, these people aren't serving you anymore. But it means that it's just, there's no purpose there. You're not getting, probably because you've been doing more people pleasing for them than you have actually been looking after yourself for majority of the time. And not that it makes them bad people, because they're doing whatever's right for them. So everybody goes along in this world of doing right for each other and themselves, and before you know it, it's just not the right. And I know that, and it's took, probably since I finished with my life coach last January and this last 18 months, I love my solitude. And I honestly would never have thought I would have ever said that. I like people. I do like people. I mean, I do. We talk on voice notes. I like company with people. I like socializing with people. But I also really value my solitude. And I do think a lot of it comes from that not a lot of people have done a lot of work on themselves. And that's actually quite tiring and a little bit energy draining and a little bit sucking the life out of me, which is why I probably like my solitude, because then I can pump back into me and do stuff for me and look after me.
Yeah. I mean, that is, you might say, right, another downside of working on yourself is that everybody else just seems...
And it's hard because you don't want to sound judgy, do you? I'm not
No.
judging. Like, I'm really not judging because honestly, I've been to the pits. I've done some shit stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge people. But for me and where I am, it is soul sucking. Some of it is. I can feel
Yeah.
the energy. You can feel it with people, and you're just like,
Yeah.
nah, I just
Yeah,
can't.
and that's it. And you can't say, I mean, it's like me, like coaching. I can't, if somebody says something to me out and about, or a friend, I don't instantly go into coach mode because that would be
Yeah,
immoral of me.
yeah.
So I have to kind of keep my mouth shut and smile. It's fucking hard work, mate.
See, I'm not a coach, and I know some of my friends would be saying, "Yep, I've definitely said to them. So what are you going to do about it?"
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I know that I say that because,
yeah,
in actual fact, I don't have the damn answers. Like, I can, if one of my friends comes to us and says, "Right, I feel like this, and this. What should I do?" Then I can go, "Well, you could try this. You can have a look at this. You can research about that and do all that shite." But in actual fact, I can't do anything about whatever such situation somebody's in. All I can say is, well, what are you going to do about it? What do you want to
yeah,
do about it? How do you want to make yourself feel better? Because I can't do that. And in all fairness, if I attempted to do that, I'm then doing myself a disservice because what I'm doing is going straight into people pleasing to go, oh, I'll help you, I'll look after
yeah,
you. Well, I can't because I don't have the damn answers. I have them for me, but I don't have them for everyone else.
yeah.
And
And
I'm
that's
quite
it.
like that with my kids, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Everybody, literally everybody is different.
Huh?
So
I
I
see
can't,
that in my kids.
yeah, I can't tell people how to de-stress because what I
Ah,
find mindful is probably somebody else's worst nightmare. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
because you like to go swimming in a tub of freezing cold water, Amy. I mean, I feel like I should do it. And I see your post doing it, and I'm like, I should do that. I should put that down as a target. And I'm like, no, no. But I like going to there's a lass who I met through the gym years ago, lovely, lovely lass called SJ. And she runs like soulful stuff, and she does tarot cards and all that. But she does this, what she does, like it's not even a day trip. It's like a trek. So you go on a trek, and it's not a trek, it's more like a casual stroll. And then we do meditations, and then we do a cold water dip in waterfalls. And Amy, I just love it. Eh?
Yeah, I've seen you in cold water.
I loved it. I love it. I love it. But I don't think I could sit in a pot of it outside my house. I feel like, I don't know. Or maybe I should just try it. I don't know. It's cold.
You should. I think you've been. Yeah, you surprise yourself. Actually, it makes you very present. Yeah, I only do 3 minutes.
Yeah, maybe that's my next challenge. Because I do
Oh,
like
you've just said it on the podcast. Now you've got to
oh
do
shit.
it.
Nobody have heard it. Nobody will watch this anyway. It's fine to move with it.
This clip's coming out on social.
Oh. Oh, is that accountability right there? Shit.
Yes.
Oh
Love it.
my
I
God.
know you do it though because you are like me. If we're gonna do something and we say we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. Because
It's a thing.
I put a post on about it the other day. I used to be the person that had no integrity, as well as overwhelmed, anxious, and everything like that. So my big thing is, if I say I'm going to do something, I fucking do it
Yeah,
and have integrity. Because if I'm breaking promises to myself, I can break promises to everybody else.
exactly.
And the
Yeah.
worst person you can break a promise to is yourself.
Is that you giving me a lecture now about the cold water dip?
Yeah, that's the only reason. I did my first ice bath and did a video on Facebook going, I'm going to do 24 in this quarter. Now I've had to go and do it because I've come out and said it. And one, I didn't want to look like a twat. And I thought, I'm not breaking the promise to myself, not doing it.
And now you've done, because you've only got one more to go, haven't you?
Yes, yeah.
So in terms of that, what's next after that then?
So I'm going to carry on doing them because I didn't do it for the health benefits because I already knew the health benefits before and it never like made me do it. Right. So it wasn't that. It was about me challenging myself and sticking to my word.
Yeah.
What I've noticed all the way through this quarter is the health benefits that it does have.
Really?
Yeah. So my resting heart rate's dropped, my HRV's gone up. Like I say, it's that 3 minutes of me deep breathing, because you have to breathe properly in the cold water.
You see, I like the breathing thing, Amy. I
But
relish
you
on.
can, if you
I like
hold your
it.
breath, if because the first time I got in, I was like, and I couldn't catch my breath, so the water was freezing. But if you kind of, when I stand in it, I take a deep breath in, as I'm lowering down, I breathe out really slowly. You don't feel
Yeah.
the cold as much because your central nervous system's settling down.
Feel like a little challenge coming on now.
Oh, you should do it. These ice baths are only 30 quid off Amazon. You know, it's not like you've got to go and buy one
And
of
actually,
these.
it's pretty good weather to start it in, isn't it?
Yeah,
Now would be the time to start, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
dear.
absolutely loved it. It's very mindful, and yes, I'm quite proud of myself that I've done it.
And
Well,
I
one
mean,
more.
I like that because yeah, it's. I do think being, breathing and being present, and the breathing helps you be present is huge. It's massive, and it changed me. It
Yeah,
completely changed my direction in life. Made us feel good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, I'm all up for breathing. So if you start to feel like the past version of you, if you start to feel like overwhelmed or a bit anxious, what's your go-to?
Ooh. So it's not fluctuated. So I still have everything in what I would call that toolbox, right? But there's certain things that I probably used quite a lot of when I first started the work, when I really started to recognize things. So I used to tap on my chest a lot. So I'd be like that.
Yeah,
I am safe, and breathe and be breathing. So tapping was really good. Movement is a good thing. So if I play music and I dance, I mean, I've seen me at work, not the place I'm at now, but a couple of places before, in the toilets with my headphones in, just moving because I was feeling really, really scared. Like I'd been crying and everything. I felt really like, because then my breathing started to go. So tapping the chest with the breathing and then the moving. Now trying to remember when the last time I actually needed to tap my chest. It's got to be a long time now. So now I tend to just sit in it and breathe. So now when something happens, what you'll find is I'll just sit and I'll just breathe and I'll just feel it in my
yeah,
body. And then I can generally work out whether it's something that I maybe need to work on, like where's that coming from? Why do I feel like that? Or if it's something where I'm like, that person's just behaved really shitty. That's up to them.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I
yeah,
generally know,
yeah,
so now I know, I know that I'm safe. I think that's the big thing. Having done all the work, is that I know that I am safe. And a lot of the responses and the things how I felt is because I felt unsafe, and I felt, that trauma coming back, that I felt scared or I felt unloved. I mean, one of the biggest things I could probably admit on here would be, with past relationships and even with my marriage. And again, not, he did what was right for him, not a bad man. So the kids' his dad at the end of the day. But it was very much like I look back, and the decisions I made again was people pleasing, and that included my husband. You know what I mean? Because then
yeah,
he wouldn't leave me, and I wouldn't be abandoned, and I wouldn't feel unloved. That's where that came from. It was entirely wanting to feel safe. Whereas moving forward, I give that to me, and it sounds really corny, but you can't put into a relationship and have and work together with a partner if you're seeking fulfillment for them to make you feel a certain way. Because then what you're doing is you're not finding a partner for a relationship because you're equal and you want to work together and have all those values and look after each other and all that, if what you're seeking is to feel loved, because then you're not seeking it for the right reasons,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
why.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think in terms of now, I do tend. I'm trying to think what I revert to, but I don't tend to get past the breathing. The breathing's the bit that works for me. So if something happens,
Yeah,
I can sit with it and I can breathe through it, and it lasts seconds. Whereas it used to last minutes of
yeah.
this. Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm gonna die. What's gonna happen? It's none of that now. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah,
And I mean, now,
that's it, isn't
don't
it? I
get us
think
wrong,
it's
like my toolbox is there. And I mean, you know, there wouldn't be anything unusual for you to pass us in the car in the morning when I'm driving to work and the music's playing and I'm singing, because I'm
yeah,
just
I was saying.
regulating, and I'm making noises to regulate my body. And it's not because there's trauma, it's just because it feels bloody good and it feels nice, and it helps us regulate for the day and move, a bit of movement and relaxes. And I walk a lot, you know, I always walk every morning, early hours of the morning with the dog, always in the woods, round trees or streams or whatever. And I do a lot more stuff like the Lego, that's really therapeutic and stuff, and I like doing that.
Yes.
I do a lot of stuff that is for me. So, you know, someone might say, do you want to come out on, I don't know, Thursday night? And I'll be like, oh, I can't, because, you know, I've got stuff on. It's not because I'm out, Amy. It's not because I'm going to the pub. It's not because I'm doing, it's because I might actually have an evening planned where I'm doing a foot massage and I've got some foot masks on and I'll be chilling out and I might be colouring in. I'll be doing something for me because I have to pour into me, because we're surrounded by so many people who are angry and upset with the world and all of that, and you can just feel it. You can
Yeah,
feel it by people's mannerisms and
yeah.
attitudes.
Do you know what it is? Yeah. Do you know what it is? The world is full of people just wanting to be happy, and it's full
Yeah.
of people that will be happy when they've got that new car, be happy when they've got that holiday and everything like that. I don't chase happiness.
No.
I chase peace.
Yeah.
And
And
there's a huge difference.
it is a huge difference, because peace brings you happiness and contentment and
Yeah, yeah,
calmness and everything. And if you have
yeah,
that, and again, though, it's about that being present, because then you're not thinking of things that might be happening that could be bad, and what happened 5 years ago. And like, we all have a history, we all
yeah.
have a story, but yeah, just, you know, present, calmness, being peaceful, being authentic. Because if you're authentic, like you said, you know what I mean, gonna do an ice bath and then you had no choice, there you go. But it is that, being true to yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I say, and I do believe you just made yourself accountable on my podcast.
Oh my God. I'm not sure I'm going to listen to this back. If I listen to this back and I've said I'm going to do this, then that's different to saying I should. I'm not having any of this peer pressure, Amy. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Don't people please Amy.
Oh, well, I love it. Right, one last question, Dianne, and you know I ask this to everybody. Tell me 3 good things about yourself.
I've thought about this, and the reason I know this is because I've listened to every single one of your podcasts. Every single one. I am addicted to them. And I'm very honoured that you asked us to come on, because it's been good crack and a good laugh.
Yes.
I think I add value to the world, and I think I've been through a journey that is impactful. I am, you know, sitting here in front of you, a very different woman to what I have been. However, a lot of the people you've had on the podcast are truly incredible people. Like, literally, I'm like, oh, quite often in awe. So I know the questions you asked, so I have thought about it. So I've cheated, because I bloody well know. And I'm going to say, uh, like, or even love about me, is I love my smile, because I do think it's infectious. I do smile a lot. I did have Bell's palsy back in 21, was that? 21.
21, yeah, that's it.
And there was touch and go of whether that smile would come back, and it has. It's not perfect, but it's perfect enough, perfect for me. So I do love my smile, and I do think it's infectious with people. I I think I'm an incredible mother.
You
Not
are.
just amazing, I think I'm an incredible mother. Um, and I would say I am. See, there's that many. It's hard to pick, because I'm just amazing. I'm just incredible all round. What I would say, that I like the fact that I'm present and authentic with people, and I
Yeah,
think with that naturally comes my kind of Zen calming,
yeah,
and I think that's something I've never been before in life until of, you know, the last sort of, I don't know, certainly the last 12
Yeah,
month really.
yeah,
And I think that's bringing huge amount of value to not just my life, but my kids' life and my job. I think the
yeah.
people around us are really feeling the benefit from it.
You've had an amazing journey, mate. An amazing transformation.
Really
And I,
incredible. And I'm really excited about just the moving forward. We're in June
yeah,
already.
I know.
It's been an absolutely like I can't even say it, just this last it's just amazing. So
Yeah,
it just keeps growing and getting better and adding to my
yeah.
life.
Well, that's it. If anybody's listening that is, I would say women, but I suppose this could affect men as well. But if you're
Yeah.
feeling flat, you had a bit of a something in life that kind of knocked you sideways, and you were feeling like, oh, me and Dianne were talking about, then please feel free to reach out to us and talk about
Yeah.
journaling, meditation, breathing, anything like that. Because these tiny little things, even they might seem simple, are life changing.
They are. And it's I mean, don't get us wrong. The message back from me might be, so what are you gonna do about it? What are
Yes.
you gonna do about it? What action are you gonna take? So I would be a bit more supportive than that. But yeah, and I think it's a lot of it's down to consistency, Amy. You've got
Yes. Yeah.
and it's hard. It's not an easy journey. It's definitely not. There's been points in the past where, you know, when I really started working with a life coach and digging deep, I actually sat and questioned what the heck I was doing. Like
Yeah.
I felt stuck. In fact, we call it like the gooey stage because you're neither something out and you don't really know what's happening and you're feeling a bit crap, but then you don't feel really sad. It's a very, very peculiar place to be in, and it's not easy, but by God, it's worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You've been an absolute star.
So
And
have you, Amy.
thank you for my WhatsApp messages on a daily basis. If you would hear our WhatsApp voice notes, I said to
I
Dianne
know.
earlier, we'll just play everybody the WhatsApp voice notes. It will just make an
Yeah.
amazing podcast.
Some of them I've actually cried with laughing at because some of the stuff I'm like, I don't even know where that come from.
I absolutely love it. So if anybody does want like just a word of advice and a Dianne say what you're going to do about it, just get in contact, and we can WhatsApp you one of the voice notes. Yes.
Yeah, make you laugh or cry.
Yes. Yes. Well, thanks for joining me, my lovely.
Thank you, Amy. I
I
love
look forward to
you
seeing the
and I
icebergs.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you too.